Okay, so Gamesir X2. If you play any game on your cell phone, doesn't matter if it's on a cloud streaming service like xCloud or Stadia, or if you actually just use games that are on the Google Play Store, you probably are interested in a game controller. And right off the bat, the Gamesir X2 is actually a really cool controller with a few caveats. First off, the buttons are pretty nice, however, there is no D-pad. There are 4 buttons that are in the place of the D-pad, but they are just separate buttons. If you do play fighting games, that's probably going to be a deal breaker for you, so you're going to have to look at something else like the Razer Kishi. However, if that is not such a big deal for you, then the Gamesir is probably going to be something that you can still use for a game like Brawlhalla if you are comfortable moving with the joystick, and if you are comfortable with the fact that the actual buttons on the right hand side are completely different from any other controller, from your Xbox to your PlayStation to your Google Stadia. It is completely different. The X and the Y buttons are switched, the B and the A button are switched, and the switch does not actually reflect in the game. So for example, typically if you take a look at the PlayStation controller, you have the X button at the bottom, and if you take a look at the Google Stadia button, the A is at the bottom. What you would expect in a game is to be able to press the X or the A button, and that would be, your select button. However, with this game controller, when you go into a game, you will not press the button at the bottom, you will have to press the button on the right hand side where the A is. This will actually affect you if you already have muscle memory from years of playing on using other controllers. So, if you don't want to switch your muscle memory, you're gonna have to say no to this controller, because it does actually make playing games a little bit more challenging, especially when I play some of those AAA games like Doom 2016 on Google Stadia. I did find that it was very difficult to get back into action and be able to perform at the same level that I would using a regular controller. With that said, I did actually enjoy using the Gamesir X2 with mobile games like Brawlhalla, which is a much simpler game to get used to, and which allows me to actually adjust the controls in the game. Alright, talking about the triggers, personally I wasn't a huge fan of the smaller triggers compared to what I felt on the Razer Kishi or on a regular controller. That was just me personally. I did appreciate that they had it and that it did actually function quite well. It was just a little bit too small for my personal taste. The triggers were actually pretty nice. I found them quite comfortable to use, and I really love the textured pad right at the bottom of the controller, which really added to the grip. One of the biggest pros that I can mention is the fact that the back of the controller is a hard case. So unlike the Razer Kishi, which is very soft, the back of the controller actually forms a support for you to actually hold onto when you are gaming, and that was something that I found extremely useful, and I really appreciate that they included this part into the design of this Gamesir, because at the time that I did use the Razer Kishi, I found that sometimes I would be holding onto my controller and I would actually almost bend my phone inside the controller, so that was something that I didn't really enjoy with the Kishi. Overall, my impressions of the Gamesir X2 is that this is a controller that has a lot of potential. I can see a lot of people interested in it, but I feel like this is still a beta product for what they can actually build. All they have to do is add a proper D-pad, switch the buttons on the right hand side to something that will make a little bit more sense for people actually gaming, and maybe potentially increase the size of the joysticks, because I do find that as an older gamer I'm more used to the larger joysticks on the PlayStation controller, the Xbox, the Stadia controller. However, I feel like Gamesir might be okay keeping them small, just because I do know that a lot of younger gamers might be more familiar with the smaller joystick controller from the Nintendo Switch. So I'm not gonna knock any points down for that. That was my impressions, and I guess a quick review of using the Gamesir X2. I picked it up on sale for I think 60 Canadian dollars during this New Year's sale on Amazon, and I'll be honest with you, I don't see myself using it very often from now on, just because for myself personally, the buttons on the right hand side are a deal breaker, especially when I'm playing games on Google Stadia. Anyway, that's all for today. I'll see you all next time. Bad Pixie out.